let's talk a little bit about your hairstylist and the makeup artist as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the impact of that on you as a brand. How does that come in play with all of your identity and all of that?
I think those in fashion, music, anything in that sort of field, your appearance is very important. So you don't have to be glamorous, but you have to have an identity. And it helps your brand, because there are people who will connect with you on a superficial level before they accept what you're either selling or the product. So, and that's why you have a musician who looks a certain way and people connect, and then you have another musician who looks entirely, it's all about what you're saying, what you're selling, what you're giving, or if it's your identity or your character, look like it. And it helps. For me, if you're a makeup artist and you don't look like it shows, you have to wear what you're selling. So my hair has to be on point. If I have awful, messy hair or nothing, and I'm saying I'm a hairdresser, the first thing people are going to look at is my hair. So you will get judged on what you say you're selling. You're a makeup artist, no makeup. I mean, if you've been doing this for a while and you have a name and you don't wear makeup, it's fine. But if you're saying and you don't look the part, it's kind of hard to sell. We live in a different time now where people judge you. You're a stylist and you have no style. It's kind of hard to sell.
Wow, this whole conversation is getting really steamy. Let's switch things up a little bit again. And we're going to talk about how to maintain your online presence. How to maintain your personal brand. Because that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
So should I pass that over to you, Ronke, quickly,
Sure.
in literally 30
so
seconds?
yeah, I think there is so much pressure to be visible online. I think social media and technology has been a blessing. I think it can be really empowering, but you've got to use it wisely. You have to control it. You cannot allow it to control you. I think the problems occur when all these platforms start to control you and you're influenced by them. So you have to be able to manage your time effectively, use the tools that are there, be really intentional. A lot of people want to become influencers overnight, buying followers, they're buying likes, they're buying comments. You literally buy comments. And
Oh, really?
You can buy everything.
Oh,
You can
wow.
buy anything. It's capitalism. And I feel like, what's your intention there for? Is it genuine longevity? So you can be in the business that you're in, for example, for over 20 years, as Bookie's been in, So you can be sustainable and have a sustainable brand like you will be, God willing. So you have to make sure that whatever intention you have on social media is consistent. And don't get drawn and swept away by the likes and the retweets. It's great, it's good. But if you're secure in yourself, you will not need online validation to make sure that you are valuable, actually.
That is
So
such a
that's
good
it.
way to bang that topic. Like,
So true.
it's a good bang. I sort of feel like parents are still living they still want to live through their children. And I say that because it still happens, as a good example, going to uni to study law, as opposed to media or something, a media course or something that's at least not too far from it. It's, again, just showing that parents still want to kind of lead and be part of what the children do. So let's talk about that, because I know you guys are a little bit paranoid. You don't want your parents watching and thinking, you just didn't throw me right under the bus, did you? But look at it as this episode, there's someone out there, there's another parent watching this and thinking, well, actually, I want my child to be a doctor and the child wants to be a singer. I want us to use this as a way to educate people out there to say, well, actually, if your child wants to do it, let them go ahead and do it. So before we go into that, Bami, I believe one of the reasons your parents weren't comfortable with you leaving Google, I mean, at the end of the month, you get salary. I mean, that was guaranteed. And then to think that you will start dancing, you probably wouldn't have income for X amount. How did you manage in that period, and how did they support you in that period, if they did at all?
So in terms of like financially,
Yes.
So the transition. So I knew for at least 6 months that I was going to leave my job even before I told them. So I saved a lot of money. I made a lot of sacrifices in order to cushion myself for. I like forecasted at least 12 months of what I would need to move to England, sustain myself for that. So I supported myself and my business financially up until now, but it is also making money at the same time. But everything goes back into the business.
Into the business. Okay, that's good. That's a good plan. At least you kind of thought about it before you did it. With you, Amira, obviously being a beauty pageant, I don't know what the world is, but clearly my understanding is that parents, especially African parents, don't necessarily feel comfortable doing that, because there is this myth of when you're model, when you're a beauty pageant, you then get exposed to certain things. How have you been able to sort of manage that? I mean, do you have those conversations with your parents? Do your parents have those conversations with you in terms of home education, what should be done and what shouldn't be done, just to kind of counter the fears around that?
My mom's really like prayerful, so she believes that any decision I make is on me. If I want to go out and take drugs or do something that I shouldn't be
Which
doing,
you wouldn't?
Yeah, which I would never do that. But if I wanted to go and do something like that, she would be like, that's your life kind of thing. So she wants me to learn from my life experiences, but she believes that I should be the one to make the right decisions for myself. I know there are some parents who they might not allow the daughter into doing pageants because of the swimwear around, body exposure, modeling, lingerie modeling, drug life, because some models, they have to take drugs for like becoming more skinny, anorexic and things like that. Some parents are against that completely, and some children, they might have the potential to do it, but some people might be dragged into it quickly. So I believe that it's a parent that might actually know their child better than who they are. But also, it's good to at least allow your child to have that experience. If they make that mistake, then it's on the child. They've learned from life. You shouldn't just keep pushing them like, no, don't do this, don't do that. But they have to make the decision at the end of the day. We're going to grow up and be adults ourselves and have our own family and our own children. So,
So let me ask you a question. If you were to wake up tomorrow and think, I don't want to go to uni in September to study law, how do you think your parents, your mother, will take it?
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be a conversation that we would be sitting like this right now on the couch. My mom would be sitting there and I'd be sitting here, and we would be in the house for like a good 5 hours.
This is just a tiny snapshot of what is thrown around the Black community in reference to mental illness. We do not accept it at all. If you mention it, the conversation will change quicker than a blink. This is why so many of us are struggling. Mental illness is often a taboo in our home. And we're about to find out why this is the case. So ladies, thank you so much. This to me is, I'd say it's a very sensitive topic. And I think even apart from it being a sensitive topic, it's something that a lot of people aren't even aware that they are depressed. So I guess the question is, why is talking about depression a taboo? Why is it something we don't like to talk about? I'm just going to pass over to you, Brenda.
I think some people feel it's a sign of weakness. They feel, just like you mentioned earlier on, Joe, that, it's just pray to God, speak to your friends. Everything will be fine. Just get on with your life. You're not the only one that's got a rough time. But they forget it's not about that. Depression is actually about yourself. When you start feeling, you can't just carry on. You want to give up. Even sometimes you might have it all and you just feel there's just something wrong. There's something that is not just right about me. Why am I here? Do you know what? I don't even want to be here anymore. So
it basically takes your mindset and your thinking.
Yes.
Over to you, Stacey. What are your thoughts? Why do you think we keep getting these reports about the Black community? Because apparently a lot of Black folks actually suffer from depression. Probably even more than the Caucasian society.
Definitely. Statistics show that the majority of those within mental health services, especially the more severe, are those of the BAME community, which is the Black ethnic minority communities out there. And 1 in 4 of us, so within the room, within the studio right now, at least one of us has experienced mental health in our lives. That's how high the statistics are. I think for us, it's definitely around education. you know, we all say knowledge is power, but within our community, we don't want to educate one another when it comes to mental health. There's such a stigma, there's such a stigma attached to it that if anybody mentions it, you know, we shun from it. It is a sign of weakness. We do look at it as a sign of weakness, which is a lie. It's not true. We also think all the different misconceptions. So if I declare that I've got mental health, that means I'm going to lose my job.
Yeah.
You know, that means I'm going to be on medication.
So do you think that's as a result of lack of help, you know, or resources to support people, lack of support from community, from people, or why do you think people feel that way?
I think it's definitely a multifaceted problem. So as I said before, there's education. We need to create a more awareness within our black community. Also services. So if you look out there, the number of services that are out there are aimed at those who are of the middle class, upper class, and they might not understand the culture, the background of the clients when they come from the black communities. Also, I think we live in a world where social media is so prevalent. I think individuals that are of influence need to talk about it more. So we go to church. Why does our pastors, our leaders not talk about it? It's something that's done behind closed doors. Our celebrities that our young people idolize, you know, the footballers, they need to talk about it. You know, there's a number of clients that I have that are sportsmen, and when they're off the field, they find it very hard to deal with life, but they don't talk about that. So the young people that they look up to just see the glitz and the glamour. They don't see what comes with the whole package.
And that's the danger with social media.
And just to add up to what Stacey has said, a lot of time why people don't really mention it again is we just laugh at them, like friends and family. You know, when you've confided in someone to say, this is how I'm feeling, maybe postnatal depression, which a lot of people don't still know about that. If you've had a baby, you're laughing. People can actually laugh and smile and play, you know, but still be depressed, you know, because there's stress. And when you tell friends and family, the next thing is, you know, to talk about it, start gossiping behind your back, laughing at you if you see what's wrong with your friend.
It's all about labeling, basically.
Yes, stigma.
All the stigmas that are attached to depression, why a lot of people do not talk about it.
Because sometimes just being a friend, it's a chore. It's hard work.
It's hard
like
work.
just trying to remember to reply to people's messages, to keep in touch.
It is hard
to
work.
It is hard work. So I think we need to always remember to add that to one of the many things, many hats we wear.
And anything relationship is hard work.
It is hard work, right?
Business too is relationship.
I know. Because you know what, I was talking about friendship. I know that I was saying to someone, I said, so you have some friends that he feels like you actually married. The only thing is that you guys don't walk down the aisle. Like it takes so much of your time for whatever reason. But so how do you kind of juggle all of this many things?
Because I haven't got a lot of friends. I've got a number of them. And some of them help me with the business.
Okay, which is great.
Some of them...
Can they be my friends too?
So they help me mentally, because sometimes having a business is a lonely place, and you need people to talk to and pour your heart to and moan when you need to moan, and you know. So I've got those sort of friends, and also just finding time. I'm sure if they're watching today, I'm there thinking, oh, she doesn't pick up her phone when they need to speak to her.
You don't pick up your girl list. Girl, you do not pick up that call.
But you know when you're busy, you know how it is.
So you're trying to tell me I'm not busy?
You are busy, but it's just a crazy world. You know, you're being the director, the creative director, doing all those stuff, and being a mom and being a wife as well to, you know, another baby.
Now we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But so carry on.
It's just crazy to wear too many hats, and you just have to just know when to prioritize and know what to do, what's important. Because sometimes I can be a pleaser. You know, I want to talk to that friend right now, but your client is waiting, she's paying you, or he or she is paying you. You need to now do the work and deliver. And integrity is very, very core to me. I need to deliver. If I say I'm going to deliver, I need to deliver.
I know that about you anyway, because we've worked together. We worked together on 2 projects, albeit very small projects, I'll say. But hopefully someday we get to work on the bigger project. I know integrity is something that is you, basically.
It is.
And do you know what? Most of the time when I do see your Instagram feeds, I'm always in awe. I'm like, can my house be like this? Can my bed be like this all the time? You do a fantastic job. Where does the creativity come from?
The creativity comes from, I think it's a passion that you have. You don't, sometimes you don't even know you have it. Because sometimes when they give me a project, I'm thinking, where am I going to start from? Which is why interior design is a series of process. You can't just, I might just, like your egg gear is giving me inspiration right now. Because of the color combination, it's just giving me inspiration. So I get my inspiration from anywhere and everywhere. I keep my eyes open. So obviously the gift of the gap that I've got is my eyes. I look at everything and I draw inspiration from everything.
But you're doing amazing.
Thank you.
Another thing I really want to talk about is how you do support. I know I dabble into a lot of things as well. Well, not a lot of things, a few things.
Yeah.
And I remember when I started the many things that I'm doing, the few things that I'm doing, you were one of those, albeit maybe you're a little bit more busier now, but you were one of those, I'd say, business friends, I'll call you business friends actually, that was very supportive in the vision, very supportive in what I was doing, believed so much. You know how you just want to have, a group of friends that just want to soldier you on, just to kind of keep you going. And I think you do have that in you. Well, you probably don't even know that you do that.
Yeah, and the thing about you that strikes me is I love when I see women that are hardworking. I just don't know how you do it. Because, the energy, where did you get your energy from?
I don't know. I really, people do ask me that question, Tolu, and to be honest, I don't know. When people ask me, I'm like, I actually can't answer that question. Like, I literally can't say this is how I do it. I'd again put it down to the fact that God's grace is sufficient. As in, it is sufficient. Even though I'm saying that, I still don't think I quite understand what I'm actually saying. But there's got to be some level of grace that is there. Today we'll be talking about achieving success as an African woman in the UK and in the diaspora. Still with me on set is a beautiful and lovely Caroline Popola and amazing Fola Nobole. Brilliant ladies. So I love the mix that we have today because you are a career woman. Evidently, you're a director in financial services. And Caroline, I think I'm allowed to call you a serial entrepreneur. Because I still don't know how you have been able to attain 12 nurseries. I mean, I thought that was impossible as a black woman. I just thought that was a Caucasian thing. You couldn't go that far. I mean, it sounds a bit bizarre, but it just sounds like something that it's unachievable as a black woman. And it's great to see that black women are doing successfully well. So my question really is, let's go back to the intro, which says that women are rising up every day. Not just women, I think black women, because there's a statistics that talks about there's a lot more black women, black entrepreneurs, women versus Asian and Caucasian. Do you kind of believe in that statistics, though? Do you agree that women are beginning to rise up?
Yeah, I think so. There's been an increase.
Yeah, I think it's that thing of like, it's almost like we've found ourselves, if I could use that.
Absolutely.
I think we've gone past the thing of like, oh, I black, I'm a woman, I'm this, I can't do that, or I'm Nigerian. So it's that thing of like the mindset, the positive mindset, the confident. We ooze confident, we are beautiful, we're wonderfully made, so I can achieve anything. And that's what it is. So once the mindset is right, it doesn't matter. Business, career, you will just do well.
Yeah. First of all, I mean, I don't disagree that there is all of those things out there. There's, racism and there's different challenges from both from a gender and a racial perspective. But I don't actually see a lot of those things in the sense that, back to my point earlier, it's all about the mindset. So my mindset is such that I only focus on the value that I bring in any situation. Of course, there's always going to be challenges. I face challenges every single day, but it's what you choose to interpret those challenges as. So if if I'm faced with a situation where, say, I'm in a male-dominated environment and, I'm facing challenges in the sense that maybe my voice isn't being heard, or, I have a certain recommendation or opinion that's just been, shoved to the side, my first thought wouldn't be it's being shoved to the side because I'm a woman or because I'm of a certain,
color.
Race or color. It would be, well, what are the other recommendations and how do they differ to what I'm bringing to the table? Maybe my recommendation isn't quite suited to the problem. So I just have a different mindset. But absolutely, there are challenges. I face challenges, sometimes, like, I mean, I could be in a meeting, full of men, and, might raise an idea, and my idea is, maybe not taken, that well, and somebody else might raise the exact same idea, and it's like, well, that's a good idea, but I wouldn't sort of think, oh God, that's...
So it's a good thing that we've got both of you. You are a gym fanatic, and I'm sure you do as well.
Absolutely.
But I think, April, we're going to come to you. I'm going to come to you based on the nutrition bit, like, eating healthy. And Titi, we're going to talk about how it's working out, body goals, and how to get all those muscles tight. So the question really is, what seems to be the drive? What's driving people? Because there's a crazy increase in people just wanting to have this perfect body goals. What's the increase? April, I'm going to come to you.
Okay.
So what do you think
Aside
is making
from summer body.
well, apart from the fact that summer's around the corner,
Yeah.
what do you think is making this this craze of body goals increase?
I'll say it's because of social media, because many years ago people are not this crazy about fitness or working out or the rest of it, but because you're more social media just exposes so many things, and in the process people are getting more obsessed with how I'm meant to look. My selfies has to look a certain way, my body has to look a certain way. So I think it's more of an obsession, and it can be a good obsession because people are taking care of themselves in the process. But when it gets bad is when you meet someone, or when you see someone online and you meet them in person, they're total different people. And you're just like, okay, so how am I supposed to merge these two individuals?
So is that because they Photoshop?
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
So you can actually make
absolutely.
yourself look slim on social
Yeah.
media.
There's some apps that make you slimmer.
Where have I been?
Yes, it's an
Oh
obsession.
wow. Okay.
So you meet people, some people on your timeline, and when you meet them in person, you're like, okay, who is this person again?
Really? This is news to me. I didn't even know that.
It's Photoshop.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So you can... Okay, we're going to come to that in a minute. Titilalami, what are your thoughts? Why do you think this is happening? People just want to have this body goal.
I think when you say people, I think we need to specify a little bit around gender. I think it's mostly women.
Women, absolutely.
And I think that there's always been a huge pressure on women to look a certain way. And the look of that certain look is tied very closely to the European ideal of beautiful, which is generally tends to be very slim,
Skinny.
skinny hips, skinny waist. I've never used body goals as an hashtag because I don't believe in body goals. What I believe in is working towards the best version of yourself. And so the whole body goal notion is offensive to me I will always be that girl that has a little bit, even though I'm slim-ish built, I will always have that little bit of a bum because that's from my African heritage.
Yeah.
My other African sisters might have the bigger hips and the smaller waist.
Yeah.
Some people carry their weight on top of their body as opposed to their lower body parts.
Different
So
body shapes.
to be anchoring for a specific body goal, I think can be very, very damaging. And, it could be very unhealthy. We know also that a lot of fitness models do a lot of things that are not healthy at all to look a certain ways. So you will see sometimes people that have incredibly defined abs. What you don't know is that a lot of times they only have their abs for about a week because they're competing in a show. They've dropped their body fat to incredible levels. Some people are using diuretics, which are pills to drop body. Some people are even starving
Just to have
themselves
the body goal.
just to have those body goals.
As you know, Joe, I have quite a few thoughts on this subject, and I feel there's many issues to this kind of question, because I've been in the corporate world for the predominant years I've been in work, and it is obvious that at certain levels of most corporations, the amount of black people you see within executive roles, as you get higher up the chain, the less and less you see us. But at the same time, I think it was a great point that you made, is that do we even put ourselves forward for those executive roles is one thing. And also is to notice that in order for you to climb that ladder, you will need to assimilate. You will need to assimilate to the, whether it's the Caucasian way, or whether it's the corporate way, or whether it's the masculine dominant way of being. So I suppose, and I remember this is how I felt, and this is how many of my colleagues felt that were black in the corporations that I've worked in, is that in order to rise up the ladder, you have to lose yourself. You have to lose it feels as though you have to lose your identity. And many of us weren't prepared to do that, because it's kind of, it is like the old gentleman's club, and they do certain things that they all enjoy. They have things in common, and you then feel that you have to fit into that club.
I just want to respond to that, and I don't believe that we need to lose our identity, and that's where I stand. I think we need to be more visible, and people need to understand how we operate. And I understand there is a culture in those environments that we need to educate ourselves about. I think it's more of education and seeing how we can break into it. So I'll give you an example. When I used to work in one of the organizations I was working, most of the board meetings, and I was a manager at the time, but I'll go in with my partner to those meetings, predominantly a white male in the room. And you'd have about 12 of them. When I come in, hardly anyone will make eye contact with me. I'm just sitting there trying to be noticed, but nobody's making any eye contact with me. And one of the things I did then was I found out that one common interest with men, do you guys know? What is it that men like? It's football. And as a lady, I wasn't interested. Yes, my husband was always watching football. I'll be doing something else. So I just took it on myself to learn about what football is all about. So another time I was privileged to have a meeting with them. And instead of them not noticing me, the first thing I did was, oh, hi guys, did you watch the football over the weekend? And guess what? All the eyes were on me. That meant we were all together. And honestly, the conversations changed just by they saw me as part of them. So I think there's certain ways we can change, but that doesn't mean we lose who we are. The reason why I say that is I see people changing their names. I mean, I'm very proud of my name, Morenike. It's not easy to pronounce, but I don't cut it short. That is my name. I educate people how to pronounce my name. Another issue about what I've seen ladies do is trying to get rid of the pigmentation that we have just to feel part of the society, fit in the society. Why would I do that? No, I don't. I'm very proud as a colored woman, a black woman. I'm like my son would say, everybody has a color. You know, so we're all, you know, depends on how we see ourselves. But I think it's more about educating ourselves, understanding the culture of that environment. We all have different cultures, the things we like doing. But some offices, it's part of their culture going out for drinks after work and things like that. You might not want to do that, but you find something else that you can do to join in. So it's those sort of things that I would say. It's not listening. Not listening.
But my way of looking at cosmetic surgery is that if someone, for example, has been in an accident and requires surgery for that reason, then it has its place. But I, as a person, cosmetic surgery is not for me.
It's not for
you.
It's
just personally not for me.
Perfect. Good. Lovely. Over to you, Jackie. What are your thoughts and views?
I think if it's needed, why not? Okay, because like I said, it's your body, you know. So if it's needed, if you feel like you need it, you need a shortcut from going to the gym. Just so you can if you want to. But the main thing about it is just the research, because it's a life-changing decision. You can't just carry yourself and just go wherever and just, you know, just put yourself under that risk.
Brilliant.
Just because, you know, you want to look like somebody else. It's a whole lot of research needs to be done.
It needs to be done.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to put it to you, Jackie, because obviously I know you've had how many? One, two? Two done.
Yeah.
And I guess the question really is, what made you go for it?
It's been okay. So I have 2 kids. Okay, I'm a mother of 2. My son is 7-year-old and my daughter is 3-year-old. After having my first child, my boobs. Okay, we're going to go into a little bit more details.
Go for it.
My boobs, they were like 34B.
before. So I stretched all the way from 34B to 36G.
Wow.
Yeah. So after, my son, after getting him off breastfeeding, I was left with extra skin and flesh and everything. So it wasn't pleasant to the point that, if I want to get intimate with a man, I can't take off my top or maybe my bra, because I was very embarrassed with the way I have extra skin and sagginess and everything. So it was not pleasant, So it's been something that I have to, my insecurities over the years, and I just had to, make that huge research and make myself happy, and I feel very comfortable.
So I guess to you, it's a confidence booster.
Yes.
You had to go through that route.
Yes.
Right. Would you, given her situation,
Yeah.
would it be an option if you found yourself in the exact situation?
Well, I've just had a baby, so my boobs have expanded beyond what they're normally used to. But I think of it as it's one of my stripes. So we all have stripes in life, and different things define us. One of the things that define me as a mother is the fact that I now have bigger boobs than I used to, and that when I stop breastfeeding at some point in the future, I will probably have extra skin. But I'm wearing that as a stripe, that it's one of the things that that makes me me. It's one of the things that makes me mom as well. And I guess for me, there's something you said, and I think for me, it's my confidence isn't in how my body looks per se. It's in who I am as a person. So for me, that's why the cosmetic surgery is not
a fan of yours.
That's, that's a strong thing you said, in terms of, your confidence is not in how you look.
Yeah.
But is that really true though?
To some extent it is.
Because I feel like sometimes we say things, but maybe that's not what we really mean. Because when you do say your confidence is not in how you look, I'm not sure you can actually separate the two things. Because your body is part of
the confidence.
The brand that you carry, the brand you wear.
Yeah. I guess for me, the reason why I say my confidence is in who I am is because I'm a Christian, and that is sort of my foundation. So that's who I am as a person. And one of the verses I love in the Bible talks about I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And I actually had to go and look up. I really loved that verse for a long time, and I had to go and look up what it meant. Sometimes in the Bible they have these things of when they translated it into English, it meant something else, and the fearfully there meant I was to inspire awe. And I thought, if I'm to inspire awe, then I'm perfectly fine.
So let's talk about this report that I just read out now.
Okay.
Are we black business, are we actually confined to online? Because I know you talked about it. You talked about the fact that you actually live and breathe on Instagram. You actually sell your business on Instagram. So does it mean we are actually and truly confined to online businesses?
Brenda, do you want to start there or should I?
I don't think so, because I'm sure Opala, I've seen you a few times. You've gone for exhibition, isn't it, where you sell to people, and I've seen you a couple of times out there in your car. So she's like, everywhere she goes,
but you said the thing.
Opala goes with her.
Yeah,
but nowadays, I think it's more of online. It's easy.
Because you find out that Opalife is a side hustle for me, and hopefully it will become more than a side hustle.
Yeah.
I do 9 to 5 as well. And so for me to have that exposure, one, number two, to reach more than just my immediate black community, Instagram has played a massive big role in my business, because I have people from near and far. I'm talking about America, I'm talking even about Nigeria, because I've always sometimes you kind of restrict yourself to just within where you are, but Instagram makes you dream. And that's what I love about it, because you would have somebody from so far telling you, oh, I love your piece, how much is it? And that just kind of gingers you. Do you know what ginger means? Yeah. It gingers you because
I just love her.
Because you're thinking, you know what, somebody else overweight, weight back, really likes that thing. And it encourages you as well, and it makes you want to, and these, you talk about, I know people say followers, but a lot of the time your followers are actually your customers. So you convert your followers to your customers, and
And that's what I love
That's what you
Instagram.
do.
Yes, because if we're talking about black community, are we talking about just your friends? Your friends can
Okay, we're going to
really
come to that.
support you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll be coming to that.
Yes.
There is an interesting piece on whether or not you do get support from your immediate friends. And let me just hear from Brenda, over to you. What are your thoughts regarding the online presence? Are we confined to online platforms? Is that the only means that we can actually sell? So you've got Solario.
For me, I don't think so, because then obviously Opala is talking about Instagram. For me, I think I started with online. Yes, I started with Facebook. That was before Instagram became the big thing. Yeah, Facebook, because I've had my business now going 10 years, 11 years, so to speak. So, yeah, and people can see you online, but sometimes they want to see you live, because online could be anything. You know what we mean? Like you could just put something together. I could just do like this and post it. And then they'll be like, okay, real life dance. And I'm like, okay. All right.
So it's perception, basically.
Yes, for me, yes. But it does play a massive role as well. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right, so Bibi, I'm going to pass this over to you. And the question really is, what are the types of special needs? What sort of, do we have a category for them? Or is everyone grouped in the same special needs umbrella?
Well, no, I mean, just like you said in your definition, there is quite a wide range. But as in relation to behavioural special needs, which is the area that I have expertise, for want of a better word, in, it would include things like autism, ADHD, dyspraxia, severe learning disabilities, that kind of thing. Yes.
And what are the other forms? So that's the behavioural bit. Are there any other forms of special needs?
Yes, I mean, there are the physical ones, such as blindness, deafness, not being able to walk properly, epilepsy, all those kinds of things would all be included in there.
Great. Thank you. Have you got any more to add to that, Shala?
I think there are some that we can't obviously see, which would be due to their, mental ability or their emotional ability. So things like depression, which we don't tend to talk about, obviously, because we don't see, and others would be the way they behave. Children can actually just be withdrawn, so those are some of the other areas which are not physical and not behavioral, in the behavioral, how they behave,
Right. So the word special needs, because growing up I wasn't used to the word special needs. The words that was thrown around was disability. So why is the sudden change for, the best word to use will be to categorize children, in the form of this disability, categorize them as special needs children?
I think, honestly, it's due to being nice in the way we relate with one another, the use of words, I think, because, of course, if somebody is disabled, that means they are not able, if that makes sense. And that's not the case, especially for our children, because some of them are very able, so if we'd say they are disabled, so that's why probably the use of the word special needs, or they've got needs that are special in comparison to everybody else. So that's what I think the reasons why the use of words have changed over the years.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. So over to you, Bibi. You definitely do have a child with special needs. What does it mean to have a child with special needs?
Well, the special need that my son has includes a diagnosis of ASD, which is autistic spectrum disorder. He also has ADHD, which is attention deficiency hyperactivity disorder. He has SLD, which is severe learning disability, and a couple of other things as well. So on a day-to-day basis, it's a struggle. I mean, that's the honest truth of it. It is a struggle because really the essence of what makes a person human is either totally absent or diminished in some way or the other when you have a child with autism.
And I mean, as you're saying that, I'm thinking you do have other children, correct?
Yes, I have another son.
You have another son, and is it the oldest or the youngest?
No, he's younger.
is younger. So let's talk a little bit about siblings, how they cope in situations, because I just want us to quickly deal with that quickly. How is it coping very well with it? Is it very supportive, or has it gone through the moment where it's been a struggle for him to actually cope with the situation?
I think actually his temperament has made it a bit easier because he's just very loving and very kind and very patient. And I think that's really important when you have a child with special needs. But having said that, inevitably it has affected him greatly, to be honest. And I was quite surprised at the degree at which it affected him. I bought a book for a friend, her children, and it was to do with how to explain a diagnosis of autism to a sibling. And I went through it with my son, and I was surprised at the strength of feeling that came through, how he sometimes resented certain things, the fact that he'd be told, well, you have to go and do it when his brother doesn't have to go and do it, how he felt that the situation was sometimes exploited, that kind of thing. I didn't realize that all that was going on the inside. And so I think, as advice to parents, don't take it for granted that the child is coping. Because oftentimes, as time goes on, it comes out in different ways, especially if the child hasn't had an opportunity to express the way they're feeling. It comes out in bad behavior, it comes out in anger, it comes out in rebellion. So yes, I haven't taken it for granted.
Matter of public knowledge that in the areas such as Hackney and elsewhere where there is a good and big concentration of ethnic minorities, there are higher rates of poverty. However, what I think we also need to do is to go beyond the statistics and think about the deeper causes of this situation. And I think it's first of all historical, in the sense that Africans and other ethnic minorities have been usually disadvantaged in the UK. But the second thing I think is that there is a lack of adapting to the challenges that are facing us, in the sense that many of us are stuck in just seeing binary opposition in terms of the white society and the racism. Whereas I think we need to go beyond that and think in terms of abuse of power. What do I mean by that? That so many young people in the deprived areas are losing their lives on what is called black violence and crime. What we need to do is to teach our youth and other people who are in danger of falling into the life of crimes how we can overcome the abuse of power, and how we can teach the values of life and really valuing ourselves and reappreciating what it is to belong to a community, to a country, or whatever.
Great, that's a very good narrative, and you can tell that you're very passionate about what you're currently doing. So I'm just going to pass over to you, Desiree. The question that I've got for you is, what is the role of location? What role does that play in the lives of our youths?
Do you know, I'm actually going to give myself as an example. When I left Africa and I moved to the UK, the one thing that I got from a lot of people from Zimbabwe was, come and live with us, come and stay within our community, because that's where you can, you know, find jobs and things like that. But what happened is, as soon as I walked into that community, I realized that I was just being influenced by what was going on around. So there's a lot of young people that have a habit of drinking alcohol, going out at night, clubbing, doing all sorts of things. And if that is the norm for them, it becomes your norm in the end. And you begin to get influenced by your environment. And this is literally what happened to me. I had to then figure out a way to come out of that in order to pursue other routes. So in the same way, I think the issue with young people that they have right now, not just black youth, but young people in general, is they're influenced by their environment. People often overlook the damage that your environment can do. There's positive and negative to both, but for the most part, especially when you're looking at deprived, environments, we often overlook the fact that those young people have less opportunity available to them. So if I compared young people in Hackney and if I compared young people in Chelsea, no disrespect to Chelsea, but this is what happens. They have the young people from Chelsea have much more opportunity because of the networks, the associations that they have, the associations that their parents have, and so it plays to where it is that you're living.
So it definitely is
100%, 100%.
So there was a conversation again where I was having with another friend, and it was around, you know, this whole theory reports about the more time you spend with your children, the better the better off than the ones with the career moms. And then I turn around and I say, well, how do you then explain the children that lives in the urban areas like, you know, council flats or in the project buildings, that the moms are home 24/7, but they are out there with the gang. They are the gang. How then do you explain this? Because, you know, we do have an audience out there that might be going through this. What are your thoughts, and how were you able to manage all of that whilst you weren't doing a lot and making sure that your children are out of the streets? Because you've got a 20-year-old.
Yeah,
correct. Right. So
well, I can't relate to people who live in that kind of area because I don't. But obviously, the way I'm kind of like brought up, I was brought up in a very kind of like we went outside, like people, you know, people always tell me, oh, we were running outside playing as children. I never really got that. Like my house, I grew up in a very big house, gated, so it was us all the time. So that's how I was brought up, and I'd brought my children up some way. It was like, do you understand? You finish from school, you're coming straight home, no hanging on whatever. And my kids went to private school, so they didn't even have friends that would go and hang on the high street or anything like that. So they go to school, they come home. In as much as you're spending time with your children, there's something called spending too much time with them, because after a while you start resenting each other.
And I guess that's where the loss of validation comes in place, because you're spending more. Let's just move quickly onto another question, which is around getting the right support that a stay-at-home mom or housewife needs. So I'd say, you know, my question to you would be: do you feel like you get enough support from your other halves with the children, or is it a case where you're at home? That's your job. I just go out to get the money.
But you see, like with me, like I know like my weaknesses, and like you, I'm not great. In as much as I love cooking, but I'm not great at house chores. So I know that
you ladies are sport ladies, aren't you?
No, but you see, you need to understand your weakness, and you need to be, which is the reason why I'm very hardworking. I know that this is something I can do. So if I can do it, I'll pay for someone to come and do it. Do you understand what I mean? So I have someone who comes in to clean.
But that's the thing.
And stuff like that.
But that's the thing. It's because you have something that you're doing. There are a lot of women out there that can't afford. They can't afford to get a cleaner in. They can't afford to get somebody to do something.
But you know, when you have something, like the thing that I always tell people is, I could afford to just be in the house watching TV all day. But I know that if I did that, I won't be able to pay for the life I want. Do you understand? So because of the life I want, I know that it's a high price to pay. It's a sacrifice I have to make. Do you understand what I mean? So it's not anything about, it's not like I don't know, there's some people who, due to circumstances, they can't afford to do certain things. They have to do it for themselves. But I believe that there's something that you can do regardless.
Add value to be
add value
able
to
get
who you are and bring in something. I know that I don't want to clean. Do you understand what I mean? And because I know I don't want to do it, I don't have a choice. Like when I see my bills coming in, I don't have a choice. Even if I feel sleepy, I'm going to be out there hustling to try and make up for the things that I have to pay for.
I quite like the angle you've come.
That's the way
I like how you've kind of brought it into, you can be a stay-at-home mom, and I'm glad you guys are doing something, but you still have to kind of hustle and do something on the side to at least have some level of income coming in as well. And that's really, I mean, I think
because even a stay-at-home mom could do like drop-offs
for other children,
for other mothers, pickups for other mothers and stuff like that. Because when my child was really, really young and stuff like that, I would pick up other children. Do you understand what I mean? I would drop other children off. So then there's something you can do
to add value. Either to yourself or to the community. I mean? That's a good. That's a good. Have you got anything else to add to this, Medina?
No,
just quickly and briefly.
Not really. I was actually just agreeing, and I was actually thinking that when I was, because my job, it fluctuates. There's seasons when I am busy and I am like out of the house, and there's seasons when I'm not, and I can focus more on the admin side. But when I was busy, I actually did have a cleaner come in, and it really does help. And then it also, like, I can actually go in and look at the house and think, and then I see we do the same and I can focus on work, and that's good. I don't always have that luxury, unfortunately. I don't.